But I got some partners with doctorates. Yeah. I got some partners in politics. Yeah. And I'm BAD. I'm about $1. Yeah. I'm about $1. Yeah. I'm about $1. Yeah. I'm shouting, I'm about $1. Yeah. I'm about $1. Word. I'm shouting, I'm about $1. Y'all know that I'm about $1. I'm about $1. Yeah, I know I'm about $1. Yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready.
This is the What's Next podcast, Houston's #1 platform where I invite creators to share their journeys and give us a depiction of their visions. Most importantly, the last question I'll ask is, what's next?
I love that you have the sound of this because I want to do them in my head. Everybody ain't got their setup like this though.
John Ross Dike I, founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the What's Next podcast, dropping every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Walk with us.
Yo, it feel like 95. Sachi on my body. Biggie chicken. Ballin' is a hobby.
Houston, Texas.
What's good?
Houston, Texas. Or wherever you're listening from. Welcome back to episode 117 of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary Inc. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Welcome back.
You know, I was looking on my YouTube channel and I'm looking at the playlist. And it's been 2 years.
Man.
2 years.
About setting healthy boundaries.
Pardon me. 2 years since we were on the podcast together. Episode 5.
That's crazy.
Amazing Occasions.
You have come such a long way.
Here it goes right here. Man, I appreciate it for you opening up your crib again.
Absolutely.
To be sitting here next to one of my very first friends at U of H.
Yes, my brother.
You've come a long way.
You have come a long way. You talking about me? Oh my God. The brother that I have known the longest.
Yes, sir. Yes,
like
that's
I said
me.
last
That's
time.
me. That's me. Before we get started with the episode, let's introduce our social media handles.
Okay.
So we don't disrupt the flow of the conversation when we get to that point.
No problem. So I am on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Ashley, Ashley, the number 4, Odom, Odom. And also you can follow me at Omazing Occasions, Omazing, Occasions, plural. And yeah, that's where I am for Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. And my name is
John Ross Dike I, founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the What's Next podcast, dropping every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
And you can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at John Ross Dike and still _visionary.
See,
also the What's Next pod _
If I would have known I could have a voiceover, I might have had one ready, but did not. So, hey.
If you would, connect with me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my fan page on Facebook, and visit my website at stillvisionary.com. Directly in front of you, I have all the paraphernalia that I sell on my website.
Nice.
The trunk of my car, and on this podcast, and you can shop stillvisionary.com/merch.
Wherever you will purchase, he will sell.
I'll meet you halfway.
All right.
I'll meet you halfway.
We can meet outside of 288. 288 no ST. Hey, make it work.
Shouts to my student, Dawkin Hasma, for the voiceover.
Very, very nice job.
He just graduated, so
Congrats to him. Class
congrats to you,
2021.
man. Thank you so much for the voiceover. Listen, Ash, man, it's been a long time since we sat next to each other and talked.
Absolutely.
The last time we were on the podcast, you were speaking about the black.
Oh my God! Yeah, a
It's
lot
been
has
that
changed.
long.
There was the unapologetically.
The foundation.
Yeah, I was talking about Thurgood Marshall College Fund. That's where I still work. Have made some moves. Still working in that capacity. We could talk about that.
Right.
And I was talking about the UBG blocks. Unapologetically Black and Gifted. I can't remember what I called it. It actually didn't do what I hoped it would do, which was cool. But I've taken a new route because, like you say, creatives are always figuring out a way to get to the next thing. And so that it was a journey. It was something to learn from. And I actually have someone that's going to pick that up So it's like it's not going to be completely dead. But I have found success in some other areas since we met 2 years ago. I've expanded Amazing Occasions and been hella busy. The pandemic last year was my most profitable year, for sure.
Right.
And now I have a new venture. I can say that I am a author. So,
Here we go.
yeah.
Round of applause.
Yeah, pat on the back for myself for that. That was some work. I don't want to talk about it.
So how you doing?
I'm good. I'm blessed. I really am at a good point. Work is busy. The side business is busy. Life is good, and I'm happy. And I'm actually really, really good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I found a way today to say, hey, I don't feel like I was gonna call you and say, hey, can we push it to another day? Because I thought that, this morning I was a little sick. Then I went and got a COVID test and it came back negative. So I said, thank God.
Yes.
I can go podcast today.
Thank God. Thank God.
So just trying to get back to being consistent with the podcast.
Okay.
Dropping every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
John Ross Dike I, founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the
be
What's
ready
Next
for them
podcast,
drops.
dropping every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
You better have them drops ready.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to get back to that point. So I'm really good in summer school.
Okay.
So it's been draining being an educator.
Yeah.
It's draining.
This year, because with my full-time job, I work with teachers and aspiring teachers from our public HBCUs. This year has been the year of grace. Like, it's been tough for everyone. And like when we were preparing them last summer, we were just like, we don't know what you're about to walk into. So they've made it through the year, thank God. But everybody that was a teacher this year, whether you were virtual, in person, and having to have like the PPE and stuff, or hybrid, whatever, like, congrats on making it. I actually did a video before school started. Actually, it wasn't a video. I did a flip grid, and I asked different educators that were experienced to provide some words of wisdom, because I know being a first-year teacher this past year for the pandemic, with the pandemic going on, I can only imagine what they were walking into. It's scary your first year teaching anyway. 'Cause what year are you?
6.
Okay, so you're 6. So I started in education in 2007. So I've worked in education in some aspect. This would be year 14. I couldn't imagine being a teacher this year. Like, the kids get on your nerves because you get tired of them. But then when they're not there, it's like, man, I wish I had my kids here because I had to do everything virtual. And so, but
I said this year that this was my worst year. Because of the virtual aspect, because I'm used to being able, at the end of the year, sitting on kids, I need you to do this. I need it done. And, it was a requirement for kids to have their cameras on and actively participate in classes, but they didn't do that.
Well, you got to consider, too, you're wanting students to have their cameras on, but it's different when you have a child in person at a campus compared to I'm at home and you want me to have my camera on. You don't know what home looks like.
Right.
Home may have conditions where I don't need to have my camera on. It might be a lot of stuff going on in the background where you don't need to see that necessarily. I mean, because, we, as educators, when kids come to school, many of them, that's their safe place.
Away from
away from whatever is going on at home. We deal with them during the school day, but when they're home all day, there's no telling what's going on in the background. So I know I know some of my teachers with TQRP, they had mentioned that it wasn't required for students to have the computer on. And I can be on, like, we all been on Zooms. I've been on plenty of Zooms where my camera is off. Now I'm talking. I'm very active. You don't need to see my face because I might have pajamas on, but I'm actively participating. But of course but it's kids, and their situations at home, they have no control over that.
Right.
But it's home.
Right.
You're saying, I have to have my camera on. So, but I did hear a lot of people didn't have as much active participation. Kids not logging on.
Right.
But when you think about that, you got to think about, do they have Wi-Fi?
Right.
Do they have bandwidth? I know here at my house, the Wi-Fi has been stupid during pandemic because everybody's at home online. And like my stuff slowed down, got it updated. Then we started having power outages. I'm just like, dang.
I'm thankful for the pandemic. and you know, I was able to push through on the podcast on it.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to move into my first home with my wife.
Congratulations.
You know what I'm saying? So the pandemic, you know, was for some it was tough for a lot of kids. I know personally. Mm-hmm. For me, I benefited from it in ways that I can't even begin to thank God for. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's just been, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
2021.
Absolutely.
Juneteenth.
Exactly. Amen for that. Now everybody know the importance of Juneteenth, whether they made it federal or not. I made literally last year, so me and you both have cutting machines. Mm-hmm. So last year, everybody realized what Juneteenth was because George Floyd and everything had happened. And people were like, we need to, you know. And so last year, I made over 200 Juneteenth shirts. Mm. And I grind my butt off. I put it out there. And people just kept buying and buying and buying. And this year I didn't do any, but everybody has their shirts from last year because Juneteenth doesn't change. It's every year. But for me, the pandemic, it definitely was a blessing. It was an opportunity to be still. Right. Because I just been on the move so much and to be comfortable with being in the house. Right. Because now that outside is open, it is expensive outside.
Right, it is expensive.
Like, I was like, ooh, I'm going to get back on this couch. I've been swiping too much, but you know, but I like I think I used to be a homebody before I came to college, and then became an adult homeowner and was outside a little more. But I think it allowed me to be able to appreciate rest because a lot of times it's just be at the house, do some work, watch TV. I don't watch so many series on Netflix, right? But I needed that because I was always moving, right, doing something. So it was a blessing and. It was definitely a profitable year for me, Amazing Occasions, and just as a whole, I learned a lot about myself. Right. So it was good.
Speaking on learning about yourself, if you could define yourself in one word, what would that word be?
Creative. I just feel like it's appropriate, particularly when it's something that that's within my wheelhouse. If I would say creative, or I would say, I don't want to say perfectionist, but in a way, it's a blessing and a curse. Right. If it's something that I'm really good at, I'm going to continue to work on that craft until it's the best that it can be. But you also have to realize that nothing is perfect. Right. So it makes me, I'm harder on myself at times because I don't feel like it's perfect yet, even though perfect is something that you're just chasing after because it's not, nothing's perfect. Right. So, but more so creative. Creative. Mm-hmm.
You, last time we talked, Amazing Occasions was in the beginning stages?
No, actually, Amazing Occasions officially with that name, I've been an entrepreneur in that aspect with my business since 2013. Right. In 2019, when we last met, I was pretty settled, but I was expanding, trying to do some new. But Amazing Occasions officially, I made the first thing that I really made under Amazing Occasions was my chocolate covered Oreos. And the chocolate covered Oreos just turned 6 years old with me a couple of months ago. Right. So I've been doing these slanging cookies for about 6 years, and now sugar cookies have been added to that. Rice Krispie treats, pretzels, strawberries when they're in season. I do shirts. I do bags. I'll do mugs. I'll do, water bottles and all this and that or whatever. So with the book, I wanted to talk about side hustling because I love my job. A lot of people have another, side business with the intent to quit their full time and be a full out. I just do my business. I love my job. Right. I don't want to leave my job. So
you're talking about the teaching job?
Well, with Thurgood Marshall College Fund, I'm a senior program director. And so with that, I work with our teacher quality and retention program. So I help recruit and retain Black educators in our schools because there's definitely lacking. But now I also am a program director with we have a program with Mondelez. It's actually a scholarship. So with that, we recruit incoming freshmen, so high school seniors, and provide them a scholarship, $9,000 for 4 years at their universities. So I'm the lead of that as well. So that's Ashley from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5.
Mm-hmm.
From 5 till 8 o'clock the next morning, it's Amazing Occasions.
Right.
And on the weekends.
Right.
So, but I love both. So, hey, it's that perfectionist in me. I got to grind and be as close as I can be to perfect on one. And then in the evening, I do the same thing. Like, I literally got cookies to do tonight.
Do you think you'll ever leave Thurgood Marshall?
That's not the plan. I literally love what I do. I've been with TMCF since 2014. I started off as a consultant. So we would have our program in the summer, and I would be just a consultant for the duration of the summer, 14, 15, 16, 17. And each year I'd be like, if y'all got something full-time, come up. Because I was a teacher. I was a professional development specialist, so I traveled all over the country, which was, I enjoyed it, but the travel got tiring. I was more used to sleeping in a hotel room than my own bed. When it's to that point, it's like, yo, I'm tired. I need to sleep when I'm home, and I couldn't even sleep. Right. So when a full-time opportunity came, I took it. So May, I just made 3 years full-time at TMCF.
Right.
Love my job. Black excellence. Like, because with we have a small team, but we have probably about 95% people that look like us.
Right.
So I'm just like, yo, we're helping students and alumni from the 47 publicly funded HBCUs every single day. Scholarships, programs, preparing them for the workforce, making sure they understand what it's like to be a person of color in these workspaces and stuff. Like with the teachers, making sure that they have the support they need. Because a lot of them don't have enough. Like they might go to a PD and this doesn't apply to me. Or I'm one of the few people in my school that is a person of color. Right. You know how we are, you connect more with those that look like you. So that network allows them to be able to connect, because when they get back to their campuses, they might not have that. They might be in a majority white or Hispanic, district. Okay, so you're going to do your job, but you also want to have others that look like you that will allow you to be able to do your job, at another level. So, but no, I don't plan on leaving TMCF.
I want to do things a little differently today.
Okay.
I'm going to save the meat and potatoes for the latter part of the episode. I want you to tell me what you think about a couple of records that I'm going to play for you.
Okay.
People that look like us. Okay. This is a platform where I bring creatives out, get inside their mind, why they did what they did, and we're going to get into their book. Mm-hmm. Congratulations on that book again.
Thank you, brother.
I want to get a couple of, shenanigans out the way.
Okay.
This is my man, Echo Remix. This is Record Not Like This. We had an episode 115 was about it. Want to get what you think about this record for a few minutes, and then this other record, and we'll get right back into the podcast. Okay. Houston, Texas, is my man Echo Remix, Not Like This. Let's go.
I learned a lot from you, baby, and I just want you to know I learned to put myself first. That's the way it's gotta go. My life, my terms, never sacrifice. My peace, my worth, never compromise. Never could I imagine I would lose myself in the heat of passion.
That's not like you. Not like this art. Now, this new one. This one.
Same artist?
No. This is Christina Janae. Just friends off the These Days Life, Love, and Lessons. 2 independent artists that I'm really rocking with.
John Ross Dike I, founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the What's Next podcast, dropping every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Confident enough, show proof that it's real. Wanna open up, need to face all my fears. To me, it's all the same way. So you push me to the side just to play it safe.
Is she from Houston too?
I think. I don't know. Just a couple of samples, snippets. What'd you think about them records?
I like the first one was groove. Like I could see myself really have it going in the background whenever I'm, working or whatnot. Hers a lot more. I like the up tempo, but that boom, 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 boom. I love bass.
Yeah, I just wanted to put some more spotlight on people that are trying to get it like us.
Absolutely.
Right. So, if any way I could insert that into an episode, I would like to do that more for people.
I'm sure they appreciate that.
Habakkuk 2:2-3 says, "And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. You do what you do for yourself to prove you can do it for others. Even though the year of perfect vision needed corrective lenses, your vision was never out of focus. You remained still. You remained determined." Kobe said, "The Mamba mentality is the attention to detail and the level of commitment. Run your race because you got time. Keep the momentum. Believe in your story, a creative story. Remember, never stay comfortable while trusting the process. Be innovative in your 720 hours. There will be stumbling blocks. You just keep pushing. Most importantly, what's next? Continue to drop."
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. No doubt. So, listen, man, you I came here today to talk to you specifically about your new creation, right?
Yes.
This book, right?
My baby. One of my babies, but yes.
Amazing Occasions. You're an educator, somewhat during the daytime. Amazing Occasions from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. the next day, right? What do you think people should take from the new book that you have out, according to so your side hustle, and then you have Amazing Occasions, and then you're a part of the TMC. I keep forgetting. TMCF. What do you think people should take in terms of now this side hustle aspect of your book that you dropped?
Well, one thing is I work constantly. So with writing a book, I was like, I need to find a way to make passive income. Something where I can make money in my sleep. Because with Amazing Occasions, I'm baking, I'm, prepping, it's a lot of different components. I was like, I work hard and I love what I do, but of course, as a hustler, you want to, if you got another avenue to make money to do so. And I know a lot of people who have started a business, side business, and it's like you see money and you just, ooh, I can make this, so I'm going to go. But then you look up and you're burnt out, you're tired, and I feel like there's certain pitfalls that you can avoid along the way. So with my ebook, and it is an ebook, so I'm like, me, of course I do have actual books, but for me just to have something on my phone when I'm in, well, I'm not going to say in traffic, but if I'm, got a break, lunch break, and I can just flip through and read a couple pages, no more than 50, I just want to make sure that people do some things foundationally before they just make that leap. Because I've seen some people, they leap and then 6 months down the line they're tired. And I'm just like, no, you can't be tired that fast because the money gonna run out.
Right.
Or your quality of product will be trash. And then that makes you lose customers and things of that nature. So just to kind of talk about in the startup process, the hope is to have a follow-up where it's like, okay, now you're established, let's talk about what those next steps are. So the hope is that it will be a series of books, but this is just talking about the Side Hustler's Guide to Startup Success. So before you take that leap, let's consider these things, because some people might not have time for a side hustle.
Right.
Or you take on too many orders, or you say you're gonna do whatever service and then you're like overbooked, and then it's like, okay, customers are suffering because you really don't have time for that. So just to give that foundation.
So let's go back to the beginning of it, right? Okay. The book came from what for you?
For me, honestly, I have a couple of people who they know I've been doing Amazing Occasions for a while. Hey, I think I want to, start a business. I had someone saying they wanted to make treats like myself, and I'm the type, I can't make treats for everybody.
Right.
It's too much work out here. I can't do it all for everybody. So they would ask for advice. So I've given out advice over the years plenty of times. And then I know someone who just kind of leaped in. And for me, I felt like there were certain, from what I could see from the outside, I felt like there were certain steps that they took where I was like, I feel like if they should maybe like slow it down a little bit, in the long run, they would have more, it would be more, profitable for them. But I'm like, I can't tell people what to do, but I can give advice. And you can't necessarily just, impose your advice on people. But I'm like, if I put it in a book, if they purchase it, then they're willing to get that advice instead of me just imposing, telling somebody how they should do something. Because I don't want, everybody's grown. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But I can advise you on how I would do something just so you can avoid some pitfalls that I had along the way. So I'm just trying to help people.
Right.
Just from stuff that I've experienced and be able to help them maybe avoid a lot of that.
Give me your a couple of the worst experiences that you've had during Amazing Occasions.
So, for example, certain times of the year for me are crazy busy. May is always just miserable because one is my birthday month. So I kick off the month being busy. I have Mother's Day. I have college graduations. I have high school graduations. And I have Memorial Day. And you're kicking off summer. And you have Teacher Appreciation Month. And you have school dismissing.
Right.
So, and people are kicking off, And I don't know why, but for some reason, when it comes to particularly graduations, parents don't realize that they want treats until like the week before graduation. And I had a really hard time telling people no. Because I know you want to celebrate your graduate. It's a very momentous time, and you just really want to make sure that you do all this for your graduate. So I would hate to tell people no. So I wouldn't. So they would get their treats, and they would be as fantastic as I could make them, but I would be worn out because I didn't say no. And that's one thing I talk about in the ebook is, you have the power to say no. You should get acclimated with your schedule so that you know when you're overbooking yourself. Because you don't want to overbook yourself because, one, if you're not good, then that's not going to trickle into the product or services that you provide. And two, you don't want the quality of what you give. And you also don't want to be inconsistent with your customers. And they suffer because you're doing too much.
Right.
So I just overbooking or not saying no has definitely been a pitfall for me at times. Now, if I know, like, for example, for Christmas between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I did cocoa bombs, which was a new thing. It literally, I was talking about wanting to do it, and I was like, I'm going to wait. And I kind of put it out there, and I mentioned it. People, when are you going to do the cocoa? And I was like, I knew when I started, it was going to take off. When I finally started it, it was, when I tell you, from October to December, I was so tired, like leading up to Christmas, because I did so many. People were ordering them by the dozen, and I literally was taking orders every single week. I knew it was going to be crazy. So mentally, I was ready. I knew it's going to be some, little bit of sleep, but I'm going to grind till the wheels fall off. And they just about fell off because I was tired when Christmas got there. But I knew, and I prepared myself. I knew you're going to have some very late nights and very early mornings. So that was straight. But when I don't anticipate that, and then I look up and you got 3 orders that are due in 3 days, and you got to get them done, okay. Now you got to adjust. And then sometimes work can be busy. So like right now, I'm on a break from Amazing Occasions until after July because work is just crazy. And I'm just like, nope. So that I don't mess up my full-time, my salary job.
Right.
I just have to put that on the back burner. But you have the control to do that when you have your own business.
Right.
So that means that the Amazing Occasion money might be a little slim right now, but that's cool because I am grinding with this other. And just being able to find that balance. Because some people, they just want to chase the money, but then your quality of life is poor. So
is the book a hustle to the hustle for you?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is.
So now that Amazing Occasions is lower, you're hoping to bring more income from the book. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a goal in mind. I don't want to say my goal, but my goal when I made the book was, okay, if I sell so many copies, that's my goal. And so I'm actually above half my goal. So I'm happy with that. I'm cool. Plus, the book won't go away. So it could be selling now. It could be selling at the end of this year. It could sell next year. But I decided, I think it was like the end of in January, I knew I wanted to do something to make additional income, just income in my sleep. A lot of people that make treats like myself, they do videos and classes, and I just didn't want to do the same thing. Not to knock anybody who does, but I had some friends who were like, well, why don't you, I mean, they're doing, and I'm just like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Like, I just didn't want to. So I did some research, and I saw some of my ebooks, and I was like, what's an ebook that I don't know anybody to have created? And I was like, well, what am I good at? I'm good at treat making. I've been doing this for so much time. And so when I had the idea in my mind, took my phone out, made an outline. And so I really started the work in like February. And then we released on June 15th. At first, I was going to give it a date. I wanted to have it done by my birthday. But then I was talking to my thought partner. I was like, he was like, no, don't rush it. Just when it's right, you'll know and release. I was like, you know what? That's true. Because then I'm putting pressure on myself. And I just took my time with it. And when it was complete, I was like, yo, let's do it. And so I did June 15th, which is important to me because that's my best friend's birthday. And also, which this might be weird, you know, I'm a former math teacher, so I'm a numbers person. So that was 6, 15, 21. 6 plus 15 equals 21.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, these numbers align. So I'm just like, I was like, that might be corny, but hey, it made sense. So, and for me, I did pre-sales, and the pre-sales were really well. And then, you know, but I am more than halfway to my goal, what I had in my mind. But definitely excited about getting reviews and feedback, and then eventually my mind will click over to, okay, what will the part 2 be? Now that you're out the startup phase, what should be next?
Right.
Yeah, so what's next?
Yeah.
There we go.
What I like about the book is it seems like it's questions that you asked of yourself. Right, that you wrote down. You said, okay, this is what I think, and you use your experiences to kind of narrate you
Absolutely.
through. Talk me through that aspect of it.
Absolutely. I tried to think about, okay, like the first question I ask is, you know, what is a hot side hustle? Do you once you know what a side hustle is, do you truly have time for one? So I have like a worksheet in there, and I ask, okay, look at how much time you have in a week, and truly map out how much time do you spend working. How much time do you spend with schoolwork? Do you have children or, you know, family that you have to attend to and things of that nature? Like, seriously, make sure this is what you can do. And I really talked about, like, eventually I talked about once you figure out what it is you want to do. For me, like I said, the word I describe myself as is creative. So somebody was one of my niece and nephew's mother. Like I say, my sister-in-law. She actually was gonna make a diaper cake for her sister, and she was like, "Oh, you want to help me with this diaper cake?" Got in there and was messing with it, and it was like, "Oh wow!" And I was always been real crafty, and I was like, "I could do this, and I could make some money off of it." So I talk about different things. For example, even when you talk about like naming your business and things of that nature, and I give examples on how I experience or what I experienced in that process to make it more lifelike. And so I just try to make it, I like real world examples. You know, with being a teacher, we always have to be able to apply things to the real world. So I was like, it isn't like I'm making stuff up. I'm actually telling you literally what happened and how I went about doing it. Right. Hoping that it'll be, you know, a nugget or a gem that someone else can pick up.
I have this concept that I've been wrestling with for, I would say, a week now. And it's the concept of the front yard dog versus the backyard dog.
Expand on that.
So I was talking about this in episode 116 of my podcast. I was talking to a colleague of mine, pardon me, and he said that there are two types of dogs in this world. There's the front yard dog and the backyard dog. And the way I'll generalize it to you is there's a dog that you see doing the work, that you don't see doing the work, and there's a dog that you see somewhat kind of showing like they're doing the work, but you just see them. You don't see how active they are. Yeah. They look nice to look at. They look like they're all put together, but there's no substance behind it. Then you have the backyard dog who you don't see grinding. And it all relates to getting to the next level and becoming the cream of the crop in whatever you profess to do. Which one of those do you consider yourself?
I think with my business, I think I have to be a little bit of both because it's just me. I even talk about that in the book. You know, some people have partners. For me, I have to be the face of my business. So I have to be what you see. But I don't think people realize how much I do. So you're not seeing the being up at, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to finish your order, knowing you have to work at 8 o'clock the next day.
Right.
And be on, a Zoom or whatever with whomever. So I feel like I'm a little bit of both. I think you probably see the front yard dog more because I don't let people see how deep the grind is.
Right.
Like, that's what gets messy.
Right.
Like the, in the background, having to do an order, knowing you're exhausted and just dog tired, but you got to give the best for your customers.
Right.
So I think I would play more. You're probably going to see the front yard dog more. And I'm not bringing on an assistant or anything because I'm just like, nope, that's that perfectionist. If it's wrong, it's on me. I don't want to have to worry about, well, who messed it up? Was it me or was it? No, it was me. It was all me.
Right.
So, and I don't think people realize, like with treat makers, how much we do. Like when they're like, oh, well, like a person like, oh, well, they're too expensive. Do you know all they go through to get you that final product? They're probably not charging you enough.
Right.
Because you have to consider your time. You have to consider supplies. You got to consider having to go to the store to pick up supplies.
Right.
People have all different types of themes and colors, and you might want Tiffany blue. Guess what? You're not going to find Tiffany blue at the store.
Right.
I got to make Tiffany blue a reality for whatever your treats are and things
Right.
of that nature.
Right.
So it's a lot of stuff in the background that people don't see. But of course, you're gonna see Ashley smiling, wearing Amazing Occasions. Like it's just, like I just make it so easy.
Yeah.
They do not trust me, and I don't want to train anybody. I can't train somebody to have that dog in them like me. Like I'm gonna make sure it's right.
Right.
You can't train people to have work ethic.
Right.
So me, I'm just like, no. And I know people that have partners and one is just grinding and the other one is like maybe more chill. And those two can butt heads. And like for me, be like, no, I'm going to fire you. I'm going to let you go. I know I'm going to do it right.
Right.
And it's just easier for me to do it than try to train somebody to be at the level as I am. So
Right.
that's it.
I just think also too, to add to that, sometimes you can't train somebody because they just don't have the open-mindedness that you have. And it's difficult. I think I was producing this podcast, and I said I would love to have somebody come so that I could expand to something else. But are they gonna see the room like I see the room?
Yeah.
Are they gonna know this Tiffany blue like you see the Tiffany blue? Are they gonna be able to kind of like, all right, this doesn't go here, or I can eyeball this, or okay, I need more flour here, or I need more sugar here. And it, sometimes your vision remains your vision.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, just for me, and I talk about it, I think that's like chapter 2 or 3. I'm just like, for me, no. I just prefer to live. I don't see me, particularly with that, like the other word I said, perfectionist, I can't see me being able to teach somebody that.
Right.
Because it's just in me.
Right.
I can't teach you how to be on it like this.
Right.
Because then when you don't have it like that, and then I get aggravated, we're wasting time. Let me just, but that's also a blessing and a curse, because it's a blessing that I am a perfectionist like that, but it's a curse because it's all on me.
Right.
Always. But hey.
Outside of the conclusion and introduction, you have 10 chapters, 43 pages total. Why so short?
I felt like I said everything that I needed to say in that amount. Now, mind you, it's a lot of content on those pages, because I know when you get a book, you got to worry about how big fonts and things of that nature are. And I did the entire book by myself. I wrote everything out. I had an amazing editor. Shout out to Melody Gerard, who did all my editing for me. And then I did the formatting myself. Again, not wanting to pay somebody to put things in place and they not look like, because I didn't know what the vision was.
Right.
I literally looked at multiple layouts, and I just knew when I saw the one that I liked that that's what it was going to be. Because I could have gave it to someone for them to put it together. And then if I would have got it, I would have been like, no, that's not it. They still would have got paid. And I'm like, no, it's on me. Because I could have rushed it, but I'm like, nope. And so I really, whenever I write, and I was like this in school too. If I know what that particular chapter is supposed to be about, I'm going to write until I can't write anymore.
Right.
And my editor, she was great. Like she said, it was very well thought out. I got very good feedback from her, and I was actually kind of shocked. I'm like, this is my first time writing since my master's. No, I wrote in my ed specialist degree, but I hadn't written like that, just to be able to write about what, felt good to me. But I had, some revisions or whatnot, but I just wrote until I felt like that chapter, I said everything that needed to be said.
Right.
So,
which chapter do you believe will draw people to find themselves or see themselves in the book?
I think, and I can't remember exactly which particular chapter, but I think whenever it comes down to the, like when it comes to like branding and things of that nature, or no, I'll say it like this. When it comes down to the chapter that talks about ways to like put yourself out there. Because I think a lot of people, they think about, I'm going to make this money. For example, I remember, I think it was Steve Harvey. He was talking about some comedians trying to make it. And he was saying how there were times where he had to do gigs that might have been out of town, had to drive so far, and they barely paid anything.
Right.
And the comedians were like, well, no, I mean, if I'm doing that, I'm spending money. I'm not making money. But it was a matter of getting exposure, getting yourself out there. For example, I talked about how whenever I did my first diaper cake, it was a homegirl, actually a soror of mine, and that's how I keep up with how old Amazing Occasions is. Well, my business is, because her son turned 8. That was the first diaper cake I did. I filled it up with all kind of stuff, and I didn't make no money off of that. I was like, I need people to see my product, and then that will bring others. Also, when it came to like the chocolate covered Oreos, the first time I made them, and I talk about this also, I made them and I had a sorority meeting the next day. So, AKs, we love pink and green. Shout out to Mu Kappa Omega chapter. Because this is the thing, my sorors actually support me no matter what. I made pink Oreos. I put green ivy leaves on them. And I gave them away. Didn't make no money. Gave them away. Sorors were taking pictures, posting them on Facebook, literally started getting orders right after that. The first time I went to do edible images, that's when Cosmo had his, shout out to Cosmo, Cosmo's Cool Down.
What up, Cos?
When he had his pool party. I was like, yo, I really want to put something out there for my business. Do you mind if I make something? And I made the Oreos, and I had I think he sent me his logo. I put the Cosmo's Cool Down, and I can't remember how many dozen. And I remember Mike came out, shout out to Mike. Mike came out with them on a tray, and I actually have those pictures in my phone. And he was literally, music was playing, and he was serving them to people, and people like, what are these? And it was a matter of, you're not making no money off of this, but you're setting up the money that's to come. You're creating exposure. And a lot of times people don't want to hear that. They're like, well, no, I'm trying to make money. You're going to have to spend money to make money.
No doubt.
Just like with you with podcasting, you have to get your equipment to make this podcast be all you want to be. Same thing with the shirts. You got to get your own equipment, machines. It'll pay for itself. But you're going to have to spend a little money initially to get to where you want to get. And everything that I've gotten, it got paid for, in due season, like very quickly. So I think some people, when they think about all that you have to do before you get to the money, that's what's going to define a lot. Because, you can think of a name and what you want to do, but how much are you willing to put into that before you start making a profit? So we'll see. I think people, you can't just be chasing that money. You need to be thinking about doing this or spending this, taking time for this is going to get me to whatever down the line. So,
does a side hustle ever take over? Is it ever number one? If I'm reading this book, do I come from that and say, or maybe when I start this side hustle and it's going, it can now become my main source?
For some people, yes. I personally do not intend to make Amazing Occasions just be it. I know many people that have left corporate and that was their dream, and maybe they want to open up a shop, a boutique, or whatever. For me personally, I love what I do my full time too much. But a lot of people, they realize that, if things, if I fall on hard times, or if you're in a job that you do not love, you're like, what, I could straight up leave that and just be full, rock with this till the wheels fall off and just do that and that be it. So a lot of people do. For me personally, I love my full time.
Right.
And I know a lot of people can't say that, and I hate it for them, but I love my job.
Right.
Every single day.
Right. When you were writing the book, what songs motivated you to kind of keep going? What songs on your mind?
I'm trying to think. I listen to a lot of PJ Morton at night. So like his live album that came out that had like Ready on there, and Say So with him and JoJo. So that's an album that I can play from beginning to end at night, just nonstop, and it's just in the background. It doesn't distract me much. When J. Cole's album came out, 100 Mil is like it makes me think about undergrad for some reason. Plus the first 95 South with having the Lil Jon in the background, they it took me right back to the Towers. Because Lil Jon was popping when we were in college. But at night, more so the PJ Morton. Plus I've gotten to where I just I don't have the TV on as much because I'll just lock in, focus, and just grind. But as long as I have some type of sound in the background. But the PJ Morton, that live album, and just a little bit of, whatever. So that's where I'm at.
Today is June the 21st.
Yes.
We have 193 days left in the 2021 year. What do you hope to attain in regards to the Side Hustler's Guide to what do you hope to attain?
I want to meet my goal by the end of this year.
Right.
I want to, once we get past July, I do know that will be the time for back to school. You'll have Labor Day. You'll have Halloween. You'll have Thanksgiving. You'll have Christmas. The last part of the year will be busy. So I plan to grind in all capacities with Amazing Occasions and keep pushing the book, put it out there. I've thought about possibly having it published so that it would be a hard copy. Eventually, kind of, I don't know. I'll figure that part out. I mean, because it's written, so it's just a matter of putting it out there in that way. But definitely want to meet my goal, and I'm already more than halfway to my goal, so I'm happy with that.
Meeting your goal, does that mean that you start book 2, or?
I've thought about that. I think what I usually would do, once I make it past Christmas, like I'll cut off Christmas orders probably like that week before. That's when my mind starts to prepare for 2022. So I think in that moment when I'll have like time off from work and then have that break with Amazing Occasions, I probably would then start getting my gears going. But if something pops up in my mind along the way, because I already kind of have an idea of a few chapters I want in there, and I'll just, go to my notes in my iPhone, put them in. That way I can start formulating what that's going to look like when I get to that point.
Right.
So that's it.
One thing that I always liked about your setup, your deal, is that Amazing Occasions is representative of something. So that, you, like for me, with Still Visionary Inc., I put it on shirts, but that's not necessarily where the bread comes in at. Like, I don't make a lot of money selling my T-shirts yet, right?
It's coming.
It's the fact of what I do for myself that I can do for others.
Yep.
And I like the fact that with Amazing Occasions, you don't put it on shirts and you don't sell Amazing Occasion shirts. Why is that?
It's for me, the fulfillment is getting the reaction from my customers.
Right.
Like I'll post stuff on social media and I have customers to say, "Oh my God, this is amazing." And I'm like, y'all made a made up word, like an adjective, like it really, I like to have my customers just be wowed and feel fulfilled with having whatever product it is that I create bring life to whatever their event is.
Right.
So for me, I feel like the name speaks for itself.
Right.
Now, if somebody asks me, but also too, I don't want just anybody wearing my name, wearing Amazing Occasions, because I don't want you having Amazing Occasions on and you doing something that's not in a positive light, because everything I try to do is positive, and you kind of got to worry about that, which my prayer is that nobody would do that. But hey, once I give it to you, I don't know what you're going to do with it.
Right.
But for me, the main thing is just to be able to have my stamp or my name, Amazing Occasions, on the products, because word of mouth is everything.
Right.
Oh, who made those?
Right.
Where'd you get those? And being able to pass on, because I get so many customers from word of mouth just because, and they'll be like, I was at so-and-so's party. And at this point, like I have a younger cousin, yesterday she was talking about when I made some emoji Oreos for her. I literally forgot that I made those. Like I've made thousands of Oreos, like no exaggeration. For my chapter alone, I've had multiple times where I've made 200 plus Oreos. So I've literally made thousands. And I'm at that point where I have work that I've done and I don't even remember it because I've done so much, which is a good thing.
Right.
That's why I'm always taking pictures or whatnot. But I'm like, you probably would need to show me a picture of what I made because I've made so much since then.
Right.
But that makes me happy because there are treat makers. Probably just about every neighborhood you go, there's somebody there that makes treats.
Right.
And I don't know all those people, but I know a lot of people know me. So that's what makes me happy.
Yo, man, I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I am proud of you. When you were setting all this up, hey, brother, it is real over here. Like, to see the progression is crazy, but it's a matter of finding what you love and are passionate about and rolling with it.
Right.
Just like with you, when you came here 2 years ago, you did not have this whole setup.
Yeah.
And so when you, like, I'm like, dang, we got the lights, we got the cameras, but that's good. But that's you. And I talk about that in the book, being able to, you started off at a certain point. You had certain equipment. You knew what you wanted to get to. So you knew to get to that, you might have to upgrade that equipment first. So I talk about having a wish list. I might have this right now, but I'm going to work towards getting this.
Right.
Because would you have bought all this equipment and stuff that you got when you first started out?
No, I'm not going to lie and say I would. No.
Because just think about it. I mean, when you did episode 1, did you know that you would get to episode 117?
No.
I know you probably hoped, but did you feel confident enough where it's like, I have to buy all this stuff? Because I know a lot of people, they'll buy a whole bunch of stuff. You look a couple months down the line, they're not doing nothing.
No, I didn't. That's a great question because when I started, all I knew was that I wanted to podcast.
Yep.
And I did not know what it took to stay committed, to stay involved, to stay up to date. Right. And so as I matured in it, I realized what I wanted to sound like, what I wanted to look like, and where I wanted to get.
Exactly.
And so I had to
get the sound that you want, you got to get this equipment. Same. And I talk about that. Like, you knew what basics you needed to get started.
Right.
But you knew eventually what you wanted to get to. So to get there, I might have to get this type of microphone. I might have to get this type of, board and things of that nature. And I'm like, think about, okay, to start off, what do I need?
Right.
And once I start making a little money or, seeing different ways I can do stuff, I intend to upgrade to XYZ or whatever. Because even with the stuff you got, it's great, but it might be something else that's still on your list. Like eventually, just think about Greg with being a photographer. He started off with a particular camera, but like, I'm sure, no telling how many cameras he's gone through to get to where he is now. And probably as great as his photos and stuff are, he probably has something else he's looking to get. Because, technology continues to evolve. Right. And so like, you just have to figure out, how can I start? What do I need to get to those next steps? And then making those moves when it's appropriate for you. Right. Because if you make them too soon, then you're like, ooh, I'm dipping into all my profits or whatever. Or, you never know when a setback is going to come. So, but no, I'm in awe. You got the sound effects. And I'm just like, we didn't have this 2 years ago.
You've always had the.
Nobody knows who got the cure.
You speak for the teacher.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I got a side hustle and I want my side hustle to kind of take over, but if it's not, it's okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine.
Keep going. I got to play it in the background.
It's totally fine. Like, when it comes down to this side hustle game, like, I actually have another Sarah. She has a paper business. And she was like, people ask me, when am I going to quit? I don't want to quit my job. And that's totally fine. But if you're the one that want to grind and this is where you can let go of your full time and you want to and you're not forced to and you make a choice to, do you. As for me and mine, I love my full time. I love my salary job, and I'm just like, hey, I'm not gonna let this good job go. As long as I wanted it, and I finally got it.
Yeah.
Oh no, but I'm not letting go on Amazing Occasions either. That's my baby.
It's a stability that it brings.
Yep.
Every other Wednesday, like clockwork. Salary job every other Wednesday.
You already know. That was the one thing about HISD that I did love. I was there for 7.5 years. I loved that payday was every other Wednesday because you never have to worry about a holiday falling on your payday unless it's Christmas or New Year's every 7 years. So hey, no interruptions. Sometimes you got them Friday checks, and if the banks be closed, and they were like, "Hold on, when is coming?" So, but that's a lot of people that do side hustles, they're not salary,
right?
So they are getting paid by the hour. I remember whenever Hurricane Ike came, a lot of people had to hurry up and go back to work, even though their power wasn't back on. I was salary. I was chilling. When we did your birthday,
right,
at the apartment. Right. Remember that was me. I'm like, I'm salary.
Right.
I'm getting paid. I don't gotta rush back. We can be all
What year was that? What year was that?
That was in 2008.
Yeah, I wasn't teaching then.
You weren't teaching yet.
I was.
But I was in my
2008.
I was in my second full year teaching.
Right.
And so we still got paid.
That was at 2111, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's when we all remember when we stayed in Houston. Some people didn't stay. We're not gonna say who. But we. So, but I have a nice salary job that is a blessing, and we pour into our people every single day, and I absolutely love it. And I love my side hustle. So, hey, they work well together.
I'm just, when you said that you had pre-sale, it didn't matter when you would drop the book. I was going to buy it.
Thank you.
I just appreciate the level or the voice that you've provided for us as educators. Like I said, I think you were the first educator I knew, and then I think that Jeff was an educator before, and then K.I. was one.
Yeah, I remember when you were talking about taking your exam. I remember you were saying, well, I was always good in math. I was like, I'm like, that ain't enough.
Yeah.
It's like that certification exam ain't
So
just because
you're right.
It ain't because you just good in math.
You're right.
I'm like, that test's a little different.
I remember that conversation, and I went and took that test and got worked.
See, and I'm telling you, I tell people when you take certification exams for education, when you come out, all you can say is, I did my best.
Right.
You don't know if you passed or not. I did my best.
That was the hardest test I've ever taken in my life.
I'm telling you, every single one of them, when I came out, I could not guarantee I passed. And I wrote for ETS. And so when you write them, I mean, they don't, as educators, your test don't need to be easy. It doesn't need to be easy to become an educator. Because you're responsible for teaching our youth. And those tests are hard. But I remember you were going into teaching, you were like, well, I was like, what do you said? I think it was the math 6 through 12?
7 through 12.
Yeah, and you were like, well, I was good in math, and I got all 8. I'm like, that ain't enough.
Yeah, it
Talking
wasn't.
about pedagogy and content, it's just like, all right, good luck with that.
And I was at Wall Trip 2014. I was supposed to be tutoring kids. I was like, y'all can do what y'all want to do. I was combing through that book.
It's no joke. I tell people, I'm like, and now they have it where you have to, in Texas, you have to pass it within so many tries. I was like, they ain't playing with y'all.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother story, because when it comes to educators, a lot of people have test anxiety.
Right.
And that test is what keeps them from being a full-time teacher record in the classroom. But they're tough. They're hard.
Right.
I tell people, I'm like, hey, that's a certification. When you get certified as a teacher, you better keep that up, because you worked hard to get that.
Right.
So
I want to come back. What would you say?
No, but look at you. How many years later?
Yeah.
Going into what year?
7. This is 7.
Dang, that was 7 years ago.
This is gonna be year 7.
I remember that was 7 years ago. It don't seem like it's been that long, but
because I've coached 5 years, but I taught Algebra 2, Algebra 1 2 years, Algebra 2 4 years, and I'm going back to Algebra 1. They need somebody strong on the team.
You as a black male in education, y'all are like less than, like right at 2% of all educators are black males. So in areas like math and science, like they need to see black men that are teaching, that know content. So you are valuable. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I think that I want to come back sometime in August and do a podcast with educators, just kicking the shit.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
If you want to get a panel, let me know, because I have some bomb educators.
Okay.
With TQRP, we have, to me, it's the best professional development teacher program in the country. No exaggeration. Just because, I was in education for a while. I done been to some trash PDs, and I know what people are experiencing, but that would be dope. Just to kind of talk about stuff before the school year kicks off.
Right.
We can make that happen.
No doubt. Most importantly, the last question I'll ask is, what's next?
What's next for Ashley is grinding through the month of July, because work is super busy, but in a good way. And definitely preparing for the second half of 2021 for Amazing Occasions. Publicizing the book and really preparing my mind for the grind that is to come, because I plan on saying no when I need to, but grinding for the rest of this year and ending the year strong.
Okay. Do you want this episode to drop this Saturday or next Tuesday?
Let's do Tuesday.
Perfect. Houston, Texas, you already know what time it is. It's your boy John Ross Dike II. This is my homegirl, my sister Ashley Omazing Occasions. She just wrote a book. You need to go cop that book. We'll have that link in the description. I do what I do for myself to prove that I could do it for others. Peace and blessings. This is episode 117. Let's go.
Yo, it feel like 95. Sachi on my body. Biggie, jigger, puppy. All that ballin' is a hobby. Ain't no wildin' in my wallies. More way, get you more way. Now that's these boys. I crystal y'all with that. I saw the sign like Ace of Spades. That Ace of Spades get crackin' like cheers to the money guy. The Willie nigga who buy them bottles and then they spill these liquors. Yo, salute my dude. I see you, dawg. 5 bottles, 1 dick. Why I need 2 bras? I know I'm out of line, but love is shower time. You know it rose rain when your cloud is 9. Get off that high ass hussy. It's a private party. Been on my dick too long. Your breath on private party. You gon' be nice or naughty. These walls on Texas Arty. This the upper crust. Fuck us up. Over and done. Overdose. Yes, we did it. Sitting on the lowermost. We gon' do it again, and we gon' do it again.
What we doing again?
Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. John Ross Dike I, founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the What's Next